Hey, everybody. Welcome back to a very special Who's Your Band podcast. I am sitting here with my good buddy, Sean Morton. How are you, Sean?
I'm good. You know why this is a special edition today, Jeff?
Why is it special?
Because we're pre-taping this, and we only usually pre-tape a day ahead of time. But since I'm going to be on vacation in 3 weeks, we decided to take a quick half-hour episode. I don't give a shit. There's no walls here. We don't have a curtain here. We're an open podcast. So we're going to record a special edition for when I'm away, because quite frankly, I don't think you can carry the show without me.
I can't. I need Sean Morton here. Listen, Who's Your Band doesn't work without Sean.
It's not a one-person show. This is not a one-person show. There's the guy who kind of steers the ship, which is you. You kind of get behind the wheel, and you're taking that ship in a different direction. And I'm basically the drunk sailor who yells things all the time.
On that note, okay, let's get into our topic for today. And this is an interesting topic. We have discussed top guitar players, debut albums. I think this is a good topic for today. Let's talk about who our favorite top female rock singers are. Okay, rock singers. So we're going to eliminate the Aretha Franklins and the Whitney Houstons. You know, they're great singers in their own right. But let's kind of limit it to rock singers. So I'll let you go first, Sean, and we'll do what we normally do. Let's go one for one. And go ahead. Let's you go first. Favorite, or and this is in no particular order. These are singers that Sean and I really kind of like dig. So again,
I'm going to bounce around all over the place with this. I'm going to first start off with somebody who started off kind of like an R&B, really, but then for some reason went into pop and rock. And I'm going with Pink.
I love Pink, man.
I love Pink.
You've talked about her on this show before.
Yeah, not as much as Journey, but I definitely love Pink. One of the reasons I love her is she doesn't mind taking chances. You know, she'll do some really hard rock and stuff, then go back into some slower ballads. She just did a great duet with Chris Stapleton on her last album, Love Me Anyway. And one of the things I love too, I've never seen her in concert, and that's one of the things I really want to do. But she does all these ridiculous aerobatic things while
Does that make
singing.
A great singer?
While singing, like flying up and down on trapezes and things like that. That takes a lot.
What's one of your favorite songs by her?
My favorite song by her is a song called "Fucking Perfect."
That's a great song.
It's a great song written by Linda Perry from Four Non Blondes.
Sure. She worked with a lot of Pink's music.
Yeah, she has. Butch Walker has worked with her as well. But she's really come into her own over the last 10 years or so. And I think pound for pound, she's one of the best singers out there.
Yeah, I like her too, actually. I mean, I like the bust your chops a little bit with Pink.
Well, that's what we do.
Because she's such a pop star. But, you can't deny her vocals. They are really excellent. I like that song. Is it called Hey Now? I'm a rock star.
No, it's called Rock. So What?
So What? I think that to me is a great song and a great vocal performance. Absolutely. Yeah, I'll give you Pink. That's good. I'm going to go, and you do a show called Mount Rushmore. So I'm going to give you one of my Mount Rushmore of female singers, and I'm going to go with Ann Wilson of Heart.
I was going to put that on my list too, but we're not going to duplicate tonight.
No, I mean, listen, I think when you listen to a song like Crazy for You, how it kind of builds into that crescendo. And even when she's like singing about Barracuda, which is, how women in the 70s were getting kind of taken advantage of by sleazy record guys. She tells a story and her range is off the charts. And if anyone ever watched the presidential honors when they did Zeppelin, and her and her sister, oh my God. Have you ever heard a better cover of Stairway to Heaven?
I've never heard. First of all, it's not my favorite Zeppelin song by any means, but when I heard that, I was completely blown away. Absolutely blown away. Her vocal range to this day is still, obviously people, their ranges trail off a little bit when they get a little older. She's not one of them. She can still hit those friggin' notes.
70 years old and she could still sing. And I was reading about her and I didn't know that she was she grew up very depressed. She's been depressed a good part of her life because of her weight. I still find her beautiful.
Oh yeah, I'd have to flip a coin between the two sisters.
Yeah, I know because you had mentioned once before you had a little thing for Nancy Wilson. I
Yeah,
always loved Ann Wilson. I
yeah, I
thought,
wouldn't throw Ann out of bed either. Don't get me wrong.
yeah, no, I don't think we could throw her out of bed, but
But
I do. I do.
look at you with the fat jokes.
Yeah, I make a fat joke every now and then. She's robust, but I do love her. I love her story. I think she's a great singer. Yeah, so I'm gonna go with Ann Wilson.
Excellent. So I'm gonna also keep in the hard rock range, and I'm gonna go with Lizzy Hale from Hailstorm.
That was one of my. That was on my Mountain Rush. My four.
Yeah, Lizzy.
Fucking Lizzy Hale.
She is off the charts, and I mean, I've been very lucky. I always say, like, being at the age range that I am, like, I saw so many great athletes their whole careers. You know what I mean? Like Jordan and Jeter and Tom Brady. All these.
They become part of you. Like you see
Right.
them grow from a rookie to a superstar.
Exactly, and they're one of those bands too, Hailstorm, because I can remember seeing them open for everybody. And then once they start getting a little more traction, she would do this intro for the song called It's Not You, where she would sing a cappella off stage and hold a note for about 90 seconds until the band comes out. And then she would walk out and go, "It's not you," and just destroy.
Great song. It's a great song.
But the thing I love about them too is they're exploring. She's exploring more of their history as well, because they've put out like 3 cover EPs as well.
Love her. That I was just going to get into that. Their covers are great. I mean, as good as Lady Gaga is, their cover of Bad Romance could be if we were doing a show on covers, have to maybe be in my top 10 of all time great covers.
And let me tell you, I was there the first time they played it live.
Get out of here.
Yep. The first time they played it live, and they also
was it a standalone show or was it an opening spot?
No, standalone. They were the headliners, and
Where
then
did you see them?
At the Wellmont Theater in Montclair.
Jesus Christ, what a great venue to see!
Yeah,
that.
Great place. And she was saying, "How listen, we have a new EP coming out. Do you mind if we play these songs? We've done them in the studio. We haven't done them live yet." Busts out Bad Romance, and I'm like, "This is pretty amazing."
Yeah.
And they did "Slave to the Grind" by Skid Row.
Oh, another great song. Yeah,
I'm just like, this bitch.
And
she
could sing it too.
She could sing it. She's a great rhythm guitar player too, an amazing piano player. On top of all this, just a lot of piano stuff. I always say that Dave Grohl is the last living rock star, as far as that's alive right now. I think she's right behind him. I think she's right
now.
behind
Rock stars, yeah. As far as female rock star, I don't know if anyone could put up a real argument. Who is a better female rock star right now than Lizzy Hale? Hey, do you look at Lizzy Hale as this generation's version of Lita Ford?
No, Joan Jett.
Okay. So
Joan Jett, definitely. And chick. I see, unfortunately, I do see the solo album coming, because every great singer tries to do that solo album, and during the off period of the band, I do see that coming. I hope that they don't go down that road of breaking up, because her brother's in the band too. He plays drummer.
Did she have 2 brothers or 1 brother?
1 brother.
And he's been in and out of the band, I think.
No, he's been there since the beginning.
Yes, okay.
Yeah. And they, I don't know, they're just one of those bands that every time they come around, they make sure I see. She puts out 130% every single time. She's drenched when she's done. Her voice is shot, and she's just pounding whiskey after the show. So it's a great time. True rock and roll star. That's my next one.
That's a great pick. Well, I was going to go in a different direction, but you mentioned great piano player, great musician, and I texted you this the other day. I love Amy Lee from Evanescence.
Mm-hmm. She's great.
I can't get I can't get like I go down these rabbit holes, and I'll spend an hour, 2 hours just looking at different versions of songs and people trying to cover them. And the song "My Immortal" is, if you don't,
song.
Yeah, I mean, it rips your heart out when you know what the song's about losing a loved one, and that reminder of them is still in your head and you just want it to go at this point. It's killing you. It's ripping you apart. You've done everything for them while they were sick, and then having to deal with the aftermath of it. I've listened to people try to duplicate the song. Amy Lee in her heyday, I mean, listen, she's still young. She's under 40. My God. And, then, of course, Bring Me to Life, which is the band's big hit. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, there's so many great songs. And I just think she is a unique, beautiful voice. And, she's going to be, like, I guess, like my number 2 pick on in this.
Here's one thing you may not have realized, too. It's tying it with Hailstorm, too. Hailstorm just put out a new EP called Reimagined, where they re-recorded a bunch of old songs in different styles. They put one cover on it. She covered I Will Always Love You by Dolly Parton.
Oh, great. Well, yeah.
And she did a version of Break In, which is one of their best songs, with Amy Lee. So you have Lizzy Hale and Amy Lee together on one song.
Album's not out yet?
It's out. Came out last week.
Oh, man. To check that out. Yeah.
It's a great one. It's only like 6 songs. I like when artists do that too, and they take their old songs and kind of redo them a little bit. I love what Robert Plant did when he would do the Zeppelin songs, but do them with like a freaking sitar and an African drummer on a freaking bongo. You know what I mean?
It was a nice attempt.
It was a good attempt. Yeah. It was a good attempt. So number 3, I have to go with one of my favorites. Not just artists, but just people in general. I'm going with Lady Gaga.
You love Lady Gaga.
I love Lady Gaga. I do. First of all, what you don't realize is Lady Gaga is a music fanatic. Her favorite bands are Iron Maiden and Anthrax.
Is that true, or is that
yes,
just for the press
it's very
release?
True. It's very, very true. I saw a picture with Charlie Benanti, the drummer from Anthrax, and his daughter backstage at a Gaga show, and Gaga actually put, I am way more ecstatic to meet him than she is to meet me. So she's a huge music nut. I've seen her a bunch of times. I flew out to Vegas a year and a half ago to see her. Did the full-on band show, which was fantastic. Then I saw the piano big band show. And the girl can change on a drop of a dime, which is amazing. She could rock out too. She also played with Metallica on the Grammys a few years ago too.
Yeah, I remember that. And this is what I hated about that, is that they didn't introduce Metallica. That was fucking disgraceful. Oh, that drove me nuts.
It was, and the audio was a little off, but
they didn't put on James Mike until a quarter through the song.
I know, but yeah, she's an amazing songwriter. Her albums change from album to album. The first one was very dance. Second one was very pop. Third one was electronic. The fourth one was almost all acoustic.
Have you ever gotten a chance to see her live?
What's that?
Have you ever seen Lady Gaga live?
Did you not just hear me 45 seconds ago say I flew out to Vegas?
Yes. I did.
Oh my God.
Because I got in my head the story about going to see lately. What the fuck is wrong with me today, Sean?
Today.
Yeah. Lady Gaga, when she put out her first special, Monsters Ball.
Yes.
Okay. I won tickets to see it.
Okay.
And my son was maybe about 8-9 years old at the time, and he was a big Lady Gaga fan. So I took him and his friend and the friend's mom. We go see this concert. My son is, even to this day, is a dancer. He loves to dance. He's doing this David Lee Roth.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Jumps. Yeah. He was jumping. And it was at Madison Square Garden, and they were filming the crowd. They filmed him jumping, and at the beginning credits of that special on HBO, he's a kid jumping in that special.
Really?
So he has an HBO credit, and I don't.
And you never will.
At this point,
play The Irishman on HBO. I mean, are they playing The Irishman on HBO at some time?
No, it's exclusively Netflix.
Who's your next pick?
Okay. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna go with an old timer. Well, I don't know how old she is, but I mean, she is again. How this artist is not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame really goes to show you how fucking limited and how stupid the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is. Pat Benatar.
She's just unbelievable, and to this day, she's an unbelievable singer.
I mean, does anything give you chills more when she sings Promises in the Dark, Hell is for Children, Fire and Ice.
When I need to get really, really pumped up before a show, I blast out "We Belong."
No, you don't.
Sure, I do.
Why? That's that. I hate
There's
that
video.
song.
There's video of it too. Yeah, I can rock out to that. Pat's great though, and you got to remember too, she was one of the founding video artists on MTV as well.
Yes, she was. Yeah, she was. What was it? Love is a Battlefield was the big and that video was the one that really put her in big time rotation. It's directed by the same guy who did Thriller, choreographed by the same guy who did Beat It. So really breaking out big guns for that particular video. I wanted to go back for a second about Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
There's a great video on YouTube of her before she's even Lady Gaga.
At the bitter end.
Right, and she's doing Dire Maker.
Yep.
That to me showed that she was really authentic.
Well, she went to the Tisch School for NYU for performing arts. Like she's legit.
There's no denying her as a musician and as a singer, but I'm just thinking as a rock artist. Yeah, I mean, I do kind of believe that. But go back to Pat Benatar. Yeah, Pat Benatar, man, for me I don't know how she's not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Really opened the door for a lot of women. For Lizzy Hale,
sure.
The Hales of the world, to come through. She was the first real female rocker. Like she was like hard rocker. Yeah,
I agree. I'm going to go a little different with my next one, and it might surprise you a little bit. One of my favorite writers ever, and I have like 5 that I always say are my favorite. Melissa Etheridge.
Love her.
I've been a fan of her since I'm probably 13. I would see her up in Massachusetts perform. And
why Massachusetts?
Well, when I used to spend my summers up there with my uncle and my aunt, so we saw her in concert up there. And from her first album, and again, this is one of those artists that I've had the pleasure of seeing the progression from her just being more of a songwriter to going into deep blues records. She had an amazing comeback after she had breast cancer as well. One of the most amazing performances you're ever going to see on the Grammys when she came out with Joss Stone. So Joss Stone was doing Piece of My Heart by Janis Joplin. Melissa walks out, bald head, just came out and rocked, and one of the most just electric performances I've ever seen in my life. And I read an article after that, and she said, I had to sleep for 2 days before, and I slept for 2 days after. And she mustered up all her energy just to get up there. And just from a songwriting point of view, I mean, I'm such a huge Springsteen fan, excuse me, and she is as well. Seeing her perform Thunder Road with Springsteen on the MTV Unplugged, and another one who, without a doubt, deserves to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I'd never get bored of her, even just acoustically by herself doing "Does He Love You?"
Yeah,
like the way I do. Yeah.
She's had a couple great hits, but some of her best stuff is on stuff that you'd never hear on the radio.
Yeah, big. Yeah, I like her a lot too. I'm going to go in a different direction as well, Sean. And maybe you wouldn't see this one coming from me, but I really like Natalie Merchant. 10,000 Maniacs.
Yeah, she got a sweet voice.
She does. Very kind of bohemian.
Sweet voice.
Does a fantastic cover of Because the Night. You mentioned Springsteen.
Oh yeah.
So I have to bring that up. But yeah, I mean, but also another song about child abuse. What's the Matter Here, man? What a great song about the weather. Yeah, she does have a sweet voice, but it's a powerful voice and pretty good range.
I always think of high school when I think of 10,000 Maniacs. It was like all the, I kind of fell into like that middle ground where like I was like the loner and listening to the rock and metal and stuff, and like all the theater kids and stage crew would listen to 10,000 Maniacs.
You were the guy who snooped around Lilith Fair. What are you talking
about? No, I never went to Lilith Fair. I'm not a fan of body odor and patchouli. So
Lilith Fair.
I'm not a big fan of that, but I can always remember the theater kids always being so into 10,000
Yes, yeah.
Maniacs.
Well, because remember she'd do her twirls and she'd wear her
Yeah.
sundresses. I wouldn't be surprised if she let the pit hair grow a little bit.
Ugh.
She was that, but I always found her super cute and a great singer, man. She was a great front woman.
Oh, I just have a feeling that you have a freaking armpit hair fetish. That's all I'm thinking. That's why you're growing it on your chin.
Yeah, well, I'm going to transfer it onto my armpits after this
right.
COVID's over and done.
So next one. Who am I going for my next one? I think, well, it's not hard for me to say this. Not only is she an amazing singer, she's my friend.
Oh, I think we know where we're going here.
I'm going with Cassidy Canzaro from Antigone Rising and from
really good.
From her solo Cassidy and the Music. I got the pleasure to see her last Friday, and our phenomenal producer Adam was there as well. And
that looked like a good event.
It was a beautiful space. She rocked out. She did some her new stuff, some of her old solo stuff, some of her Antigone Rising stuff. Did an amazing cover of Good Love Is on the Way by John Mayer, which I videotaped and I'll send to you after the show.
Thanks, man.
Just a lot of great memories listening to her. And when you see her live, the power that comes out of her is just unbelievable. She's a little person. Okay, she's only like 5'4", and she's a teeny tiny thing with a voice that comes out of this woman. Good God Almighty, it sounds like 4 people are singing, and that's what I love.
Yeah, I like her, and we wish her the best. I really do.
Yeah, definitely
for so many reasons. But she's a good person as well. All right. For me, next pick for me is I'm gonna go Debbie Harry. Was always a big Blondie fan, and my favorite song by them is probably "Hanging on the Telephone," and it's is there anybody that really represents the 1970s New York underground scene more than her, and is just so fucking cool.
Well, they were different too, because like that scene had these amazing bands like the Ramones coming out, and Blondie was so opposite of the Ramones, and Bowie was there, and there's Andy Warhol and all these people, and the CBGB scene was just ridiculous between like 74 and 79 and 80. And Blondie's out there, and they're completely different. They're a pop band, but they were just completely brought in and welcomed by the punk scene as well. And she was huge for the whole fashion scene as well.
Listen, she was a model, and but she was also, she couldn't be categorized as just just a frivolous pop star. I mean, she had depth into their song. I didn't get to see Blondie, but I got to see her solo, and her husband Chris Stein was the guitar player. So that's as close to Blondie I ever got a chance to really see. It's a band I would have always loved to have seen, like a full Blondie set, but Debbie Harry is my pick there.
Closest I ever got was my best friend pulled her over on the Jersey Turnpike.
Well, how'd that happen?
She was speeding, and he was the cop, and he pulled her over.
And I hope he didn't ticket her.
He didn't ticket her, but he also texted me and said, "Hey, remember all those fantasies that you had of Debbie Harry growing up?" I went, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, I just pulled her over. Trust me, they're all gone."
Yeah. Okay.
Let's see. Who
all right, Joan. Next pick is yours.
This is a weird one. You might not see coming from me. I'm going to go Sheryl Crow. Not a fan.
There's maybe one song, "Good is Good." I love the slide guitar on it. I'm not a fan.
Really? She's a great. It's. I always think of it as music is in a different way, and there's some artists that you listen to when you want to get pumped up when you're at the gym or have a show, or sometimes we're an artist that you want to just chill out and relax with. I think of Summer when I hear her. It's happy, it's fun, it's bubbly. The girl's been around 30 years. You know what? She's probably gonna make the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame before friggin' Pat Benatar, which is a scary thing. And I hate to say that.
That's a disgrace.
But she's had a lot of crossover too. She's done rock, she's done pop. She had a jazz period for a while. Now she's on tour with Willie Nelson, with Chris Stapleton, doing the alt country kind of stuff. I love her. I've always been a fan of her since she came out.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
open your horizons, Jeffrey.
Listen. I've listened to a lot of Sheryl Crow. I've watched her. Access always runs this one concert of hers. The one song that one song I like. I really like a lot. I did a wormhole thing with that as well. But I don't know, man. There's something about her that I just kind of find disingenuous. I could be reading.
She's a dirty rock chick. I'm almost positive she banged Willie Nelson. I guarantee it.
Oh, who wouldn't?
I would. But
you would?
I bang Willie. Listen, yeah. Come on. It's a fucking
Willie
legend.
Nelson.
Yeah, it's a legend.
You're hoping some of that kind of rubs off on you a little bit.
Did I ever tell you my Willie Nelson story and it would go off trail?
No.
My first concert ever. We've mentioned this before on the show.
Wait, is this where you take your mother?
No.
Okay, man. No,
we take my first concert ever, Willie Nelson, Johnny Cash, Waylon Jennings, Stray Cats, right? July 4th. So
that's a great concert. I think
it's a great concert. So I go to Willie Nelson's doing a book signing in the city. So I'm like, this is great. I have a guitar. I get signed by everybody. So I'm waiting on my turn. I go up there and I go, Willie, thank you so much. Would you mind signing my guitar? He goes, absolutely. He's picking up. He's playing, blah, blah, blah. So I go, listen, here's a picture of me at my first show ever. And he looks at it. He goes, man, how old were you? And I said, well, it was July 4th, 1981 in Giant Stadium. And he looked at me and without blinking an eye, he goes, no, man, that was 83.
Oh, yes. I think I did hear you say this story.
And I couldn't believe how this guy remembered that with all the weed that he smoked his entire life.
I love Willie Nelson.
Willie's great. Willie's great. But
I think when we do a show about underrated guys, underrated artists, I think he's going to be on my list.
Oh, that's not even a question. Not even a question. But who's your next pick?
All right, my next pick, I like Chrissie Hynde from the Pretenders.
Chrissie Hynde?
Yes. What did I say?
Hyde.
This is not going to go good later on this afternoon when we tape this other show, is it?
It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. I'm getting all my aggression out now.
You do the talking. Yes, I like Chrissie Hynde. I think Hynde. Okay. Yes. Well, Chrissie Hynde from the Pretenders is one of my all-time favorites. I love. Oh God! I mean, there's so many songs. I grew up with the Pretenders. Do you know the song "Kid"?
No.
It's a really great song. It's not one of the top songs, but it's a really good. I wouldn't even call it a deep track. I would say it'd be maybe a third or even fourth single off. I think it's off their second album. Fantastic song, but everything she does is great. I love "Back on the Coal" on the Chain Gang. And, yeah, I mean everything that that she puts. I think she's a great singer. Even her Christmas music is fantastic.
There's one great Christmas album, Jeff, and one only. John Denver and the Muppets. There's no other Christmas albums.
Why do you have to say shit like this?
Because it's the truth.
John Denver and the Muppets.
John Denver and the Muppets is a goddamn amazing Christmas album. But anyway, I digress. As much as I don't, she's not as good as she used to be. But when she came out, she was pretty damn good. I'm going Courtney Love.
Oh, I thought you were going to go in a different direction here.
What'd you think I was going to say?
I'm going to say that for me.
Okay. I'm going Courtney Love. The thing, she had amazing energy on stage. She would scream like a maniac. She had a subtlety to her voice. She could still sing very sweet. My only issue, there's 3 issues I have with Courtney Love. Number 1, Kurt Cobain wrote her first album. Live Through This. Second album, Billy Corgan wrote. Third problem I have with her is she killed her husband. So that's another thing that I can't look past. But if I look at just the music, I definitely put Courtney Love not at the top of my list, but she's in the middle ground. She's definitely in the middle ground.
Well, she's in your top 10.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Who else you got?
I was thinking between two of these people, and I've seen them both together in concert. But I'll go with the headliner first, and then when we come around, I'll put the second chick on my list. But I'm going to go Alanis Marissa, and I've seen her a bunch of times. She's really, really good. She kind of has that little bit of Natalie Merchant in her, where she's also kind of like, kind of a little hippie-ish, little bohemian, with a little bit more harder 90s rock edge. And even her 2000s, like Hands Clean is a song that I really loved. Jagged Little Pill, obviously, is a phenomenal album.
That's one of the greatest albums of all time. And I've said this before. It's hard to find a perfect album, and that album was a perfect album.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank on the third single from that album. Name a couple of that. It's because probably my favorite song.
You Want to Know, Head Over Feet.
Head Over Feet.
Ironic.
Yeah, Head Over Feet. That's it.
Do you know how she made all her money?
How she made her money?
Yeah.
Wasn't she a child actress?
Well, she was on You Can't Do That on television for a while, but back when the internet really first started, there was a great site called mp3.com where you can upload your music to it. People could download it, blah, blah, blah. So they were going public. So they were doing a tour. Was it kind of like a Napster type of thing? It was legit, though. Like, it wasn't fake. Like, you would pay for it and stuff like that. So they're doing a tour. Her and Tori Amos, right?
I'm not a big Tori Amos fan.
I'm not either. But so they had great business partners and said, hey, we're going to pay you $1 million for Tori Amos for the tour. We're going to pay Alanis $8 million. And they said, how about this? How about we play for free? And they're like, what do you mean? How about we just have stock in the company? So they went, okay, no problem. We can do that too. Not thinking anything, you know what I mean? So Tori Amos gets about 186,000 shares of this stock, and Alanis gets 878,000 shares of the stock, right? At like 6 cents a share, whatever it was, right? It goes public. It skyrockets to like $30-something a share, and they cash out.
6 cents to $30-something.
It was ridiculous. It was right when that whole .com. All that stuff, right?
Yeah, that had to be at the end of the 90s, beginning of the 2000s.
Yeah. So Tori Amos, instead of making $1 million, made about $8.5 million. And Alanis Marissa, instead of making $8 million, wound up making about $49 million.
Get the fuck out of here!
Yep, I never.
Wow, that's a true story.
Yeah, no, I made that up. I ain't that fucking good of a writer, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so I do believe. Wow, that's an insane story.
Crazy, right?
Yeah,
my numbering could be off. My numbering is a little off, but it was hundreds of thousands of shares and millions and millions of dollars.
Wow. Oh, good.
Oh, yeah.
Good info out there. See, this is what people get from listening to Who's Your Band. Okay,
it's very true.
Find out that Alanis Marissa made dick as a performer, but millions investing.
Right.
Okay. All right.
So I think we should do one more each.
Okay, let's do that.
And then we'll wrap it up.
Then I'm gonna go with. Okay, I gotta go with somebody else. Then.
My last one, just because I think she's fun. I'm going with Gwen Stefani from No Doubt. You don't like her either.
Don't like. I hate Gwen Stefani.
Why?
Because I think she's completely overrated and completely sold out.
Sold out?
Yeah, I am.
It's called progression, Jeffrey. It's called progression.
No, it's not called progression, because she could have progressed as a real artist, and she's putting out crap.
Well, here's what I want you to look at this documentary called Fire It Up. It's a great documentary. You can find it on Amazon Prime. It's about the 90s ska scene. And when you see how influential they were in the 90s
They were great in the 90s. Yes, I love Spiderwebs. I love the first No Doubt album.
You love the hits.
They were great. No, listen, I used to really, I was into ska. I used to go to ska clubs, back in the day in the early 80s. I love that music. And then she just went off and started doing that shit with Eve. And then Bananas
song. The Banana song. Yeah, listen, everybody has their thing.
That became a thing for a long time.
And I wasn't a fan of that.
Oh no! If you would have stayed with No Doubt. Oh no!
I look at longevity. I look at somebody who could put an album out 25 years ago and it's still as popular as it was 25 years ago, and that's Tragic Kingdom by No Doubt. They had a
Great
lot of
album.
great songs,
It's
a lot of great
album.
songs. Now she's like a fashion icon. Now she's hosting on The Voice. You know, listen, you can't think of the 90s music and think of women without thinking of Alanis Marissa and Gwen Stefani.
See, all right. With Gwen Stefani, there are two Gwen Stefanis. 90s Gwen Stefani is great. You know, exactly. When I think about the 90s and that scene, I think about No Doubt. I think about bands like the Toadies. I think about
Toadies are an underrated band.
A very underrated band. Butthole Surfers. I mean, I remember going to all those concerts, Local H. But I remember I met Gwen Stefani once at a Grammys party, and she was very, very nice. But once she started to become a celebrity and broke away from, like you said, that's what scares me about Lizzy Hale. Even though I think Lizzy Hale is going to be much cooler if she breaks away.
Yeah, I think so.
I think once she became a solo artist and started going to hip hop and pop, I think that's when she kind of like jumped the shark. And
but continue. Who's your last one?
All right, I was gonna say something to piss you off, but I'm not gonna go there.
It's okay.
I was gonna, because you could have spent the next show ripping on me about that. I was gonna say Cher, but I'm not gonna say
Cher's one of my favorites. If I had to pick another one, I would have picked Cher. I'm not kidding.
Is there something you want to tell me about yourself, Sean?
Listen, if you listen to Cher's Heart of Stone album, okay, which came out in the 90s, If I Could Turn Back Time, Just Like Jesse James, Heart of Stone. Even before that, I found someone. I'm not even talking about the 70s Cher. 70s Cher
love that stuff. I do love that stuff.
Dude, she is a phenomenon. And at 73, I would still throw her a bone.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I will agree with you, but that's not going to be my last pick. My last pick is going to be Cyndi Lauper.
Love her.
Who I think is a better singer than people give her credit for. I hate Girls Want to Have Fun, but I pretty much like everything else. I think All Through the Night is one of the most beautiful songs.
One of my favorite songs of hers.
Right? Yep. That's a great one. True Colors, I still think is a really great song, written by the guys from the Hooters.
Time After Time.
Time After Time, beautiful song. Yeah, she has a lot of really great songs. Some of them are escaping me right now. But yeah, I always thought like she's more than just a pop singer. She could sing. She could be a crooner if she wanted to.
Oh, she's done country. She's done the big band stuff.
She can sing Torch.
She does jazz. She's an amazing.
Absolutely,
you're absolutely right. She's very, very underrated.
But she gets always pigeonholed as this goofy, New York girl. But
right.
She's smarter than that, and she's a much, much better singer than people give her credit for. And honestly, I probably should have had her higher on this list.
I think so too. I'd kick off old Canadian bitch fest Alanis Morissette and put Cyndi Lauper up a little higher.
Yeah, maybe that's what I should have done. The other one, I mean, honorable mention goes to Shirley Manson. From Garbage. Yeah, love them.
Listen, if I'm going to do an honorable mention, I'm going to put Joan Jett in there too.
Gotta put Joan Jett in there.
She is the godmother of hard rock.
She is.
Well, this was fun. And people, listen, let me explain something to you. We usually have a little bit of a script when we go into this podcast. Jeff, like I said, Jeff likes to answer the questions, and I like to just come in and throw in some weird facts and stuff like that. But this was completely off the cuff. None of this was written down. None of this was planned. And the reason why we did this, and I'll just tell you now, is our guest was running an hour late. So we had to record an extra podcast for when I'm going to be sitting on the beach, sucking on a Mai Tai, and because I wasn't bringing my laptop, because the last thing I want to do is see Jeff Paul on my vacation. So we decided to do this on the fly, and I think we got a great episode out of it.
So do I, man. I was looking back at past numbers, and that debut album one that did really, really well. And I'm sure this one will do just as well.
I think so as well.
All right, everybody. So we will catch you next week with another episode of Who's Your Band, and I don't know who that'll be because this is probably going to be aired in about 3-4 weeks from now. But I hope you guys enjoy it. And always, as usual, please subscribe, share, follow us, leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely.
All right. With that, goodbye.
Later.